Hello everyone, today I'm going to do a video on how to spread out your different accounts for investments and cash, and what is the um, ideal range look like for these different accounts. This also helps you calculate your net worth. So in order to calculate your net worth, you need to first list down all the different accounts that you have. Before I get started, I want to just mention that this video is just for information purposes. This is not to be taken as any kind of professional financial advice, because I am not qualified professionally to give that advice. So this is just a way of how I do things, and it might work for others or it might not. So just wanted to put that out there before I actually go ahead with this. So we have different accounts. You might have a checking account, a savings account, money in your locked in retirement accounts, TFSAs. Maybe your employer has a DCPP, you have an RSP. And then you might have worked in the US and you might have had a 401k from there, and you might have a couple of real estate properties, a car and some gold, and so you might have some loans you need to pay off, predominantly mortgage loans. So net worth is pretty much listing down all your categories of what your accounts are, checking, savings, investments, plus the properties and the mortgages that you have and the liabilities, basically subtracting all the numbers here with the numbers here. That will give you your total net worth. Typically, I classify these into different tiers, right? So tier 1 is your immediate access cash, so something that you can really spend right away, typically within a day. Less than a day is something that you would have. In this case, in this example, and these are not my numbers, these are examples, you have around $34,000 in cash. That roughly amounts to around 7% of your net worth. 7% of your net worth is in cash. That is tier 1 type cash. Ideal range for that is, sorry, actually that's not 7%, that's 2.69 is the actual number there, that divided by the total net worth. Ideally, you would like to have around 3 to 10%, so roughly in the middle. 7% is what average would be. Tier 2 now is your highly liquid, but you need 1 to 5 business days to get it into your checking account. In this case, these would be all your TFSAs that you need to either call the bank or fill a form out, or even gold sometimes could take some time just to sell. So that is, ideally, we would like to have something between 15 to 30% for that. In this case, this example, it's around 13.84%. Ideally, you would like to have around 20 to 22%. The next tier 3, is moderately liquid. These are basically your RRSPs that you don't want to really touch if you don't need to, unless, let's say, you're using that RRSP to buy a home, let's say, or something else. You need the money right away. This takes about 1 to 4 weeks to come in. Ideally, you want to have around 30%. 20 to 40% is the ideal range. In this case, it's around 23%. Tier 3 with conditions. So what I've done is, there is other set of retirement investments. So these one would be along the same tier, but it would come with conditions. So you're locked in a retirement account or your DCPP. It's going to be very hard to withdraw money from these until your retirement age, unless there's certain conditions are met, unless you have really bad financial issues. Only then will you be allowed to get money from this account. Ideally, you want to have around 20 to 40% on this one as well. In this case, we have around 15%. The last tier 4, is low liquidity. 1 to 12 months it takes to get the cash from it, and a lot of people have a lot of money in here. right? So maybe you have a mortgage, but you've paid off your mortgage quite a bit, and your property value has increased by a lot, and then you'll have a lot of that in that asset. Typically, ideally, you want to have this around 10 to 25%, but in this case, as you can see, this is around 24%. So my recommendation here, and then this is not technical or professional advice, it's just an example that sometimes works for me, is you want to boost your cash access, immediate cash access, to at least 5% in this case. That would be around double of what this is. That would be around $60,000. It's always a good idea as well to keep, let's say, 6 months of savings, so your mortgage payments, your bills, utilities, and food and stuff like that, in a high interest savings account. Then the next one, you want to put maybe a little bit more on your TFSA, because right now it's already at that 813.84, boosted a little bit by putting $50 more towards your TFSA, if you have room, by the way. So there is a hard limit on TFSAs every year that the government puts. Then the next one, you would want to maintain RSP contributions. If you're in that range, you're pretty good. You're in that required range or recommended range. And you can move around your DCPP contributions if you need to develop some cash. Right now it's at 15%, but if you do want to boost some cash in here, you might want to lay off on that contributions to your DCPP and your ALIRA, because those are the amounts that you won't see right away. You'll see that only after retirement. So if you need some help building up cash, you might want to let go of some of those contributions from your paycheck on your DCPPs. And obviously, try to get some cash by selling some of the assets. Let's say, your car or your gold if you're not driving too much, or if your work's nearby. Try to get rid of the car and any kind of gold that you have, or any other assets that you have. So that was my video today on how to calculate your net worth and how to categorize them in different tiers, and what is the ideal range to have for all these different tiers. If you like this video, please subscribe and like. Thank you.